So, well, first let me welcome everyone to this, ebook hot seat, copy review hot seat, where Bob is going to look through the submissions, and we had quite a few this time, and give you some feedback on the ebook, the idea, and the titles and the little brief descriptions that you included. Everyone knows Bob, but I'll just tell you, you know, he's one of the great copywriters in our industry. I've known him for, I can't even count how many years. We worked together years ago at Agora when I was there. Bob was one of our go-to copywriters. And so in that time, whatever that span of time has been, 20-plus years, I consider Bob a mentor, but also a very good friend. So I love sitting in on these things with Bob, because I learn from them too. And everybody hopefully knows me. I am AWI's copy chief and also the copy chief for advanced training. And so I also write the Golden Thread, trying to help people learn this craft of copywriting. So we have a lot of submissions. I'm just going to let Bob get started here and do his magic. So Bob, off to you.
Thanks, Sandy. So the first one is from Ernie, and he wants to compile ebook versions of books by a particular author who died in 25. Now, he's on the border there because if it's 23 and earlier, it's in the public domain, and he knows that. He says almost all the books are in the public domain. If it's 24 or 25, it's a question mark. Now, what we don't see here is who the author is. In other words, you say it's for Christians, pastors, and ministers, so it's a focused market, but not knowing whether he's famous or how he writes, it's difficult for me to judge this, because you say, I'm going to take some public domain stuff by this author that, Bob, you don't know anything about. Will that be a good book? If I knew more about the guy's work, I could say better, or if I had, was familiar with him, but I can't say. However, I am a fan of taking public domain works and republishing it as information products in ebooks, and if this guy, in fact, is a really good author, Ernie, then I think this is a strong idea. Now, from Gordon, this is a good idea because it's controversial. You read a lot of stuff in the mainstream press that says if you eat a lot of salt, you're going to have your blood pressure soar, but Boardroom has a book about blood pressure that says the opposite, and Gordon also says the opposite. He says if you don't, people who do not eat a lot of salt, you might be, he says live on a low-salt diet. It doesn't have to be without flavor. So salt or not to salt is a controversial topic, and it's a health topic, and health topics sell well. I haven't seen this one really done much or at all, which is good, and people want to know. They really are uncertain. So I like this. From James, the freedom of desire, how to achieve what you really want, working the 12 steps. My fear is when you say 12 steps, everybody thinks it's for alcoholics. I don't know that he's limited to it. I get the sense that he's not, because he does say addiction, but there are other things you can be addicted to besides alcohol. You can be addicted to porn. You could be addicted to cartoons. You could be addicted to cheesy horror movies. So, and then he adds spirituality and recovery. So this might work. People do know what 12 Steps programs are. I would be a little more explicit in the subtitle or bullets under the title and subtitle that list 5 to 7 things that you would help with: smoking, alcohol, sex, whatever you're addicted to, work if you're a workaholic, and I think that would make it more saleable. And here are some other you know, some additional steps and the, you know, the solution he has. From Jeannie, we have Shake It Up. This curry spice fights the worst chronic diseases. The problem is that I'm suspecting, and let's see, that it is, it's, you know, curry, it's turmeric, and that's very controversial right now. So it might work, but there's been a lot of stuff published by some of the big health publishers. I believe Dr. Sears is very vocal on this, that says turmeric is bad for you. So you're going to have a lot of, yeah, and curcumin, you're going to have a lot of clinical studies quoted in this, unless, Jeannie, you are a doctor and you didn't put MD after your name. So I don't know if you are. If you're a nutritionist, an RN, you should definitely play up on that. But that's going to be a difficulty. A lot of people who read in this field have been told turmeric is bad. And 5 years ago, as you point out in the previous slide, we were told it was good. So this would have been easier there. Jewel, personal development, the condo association run more efficiently. This is really good, I think. My only question is, I don't know how many people are on condo boards, but I suspect it's a large number, and I'm not aware of any information products or books. I'm sure there probably are, but the fact that I'm not aware means it's an underserved niche, and you want to know you want to know about how to serve on a condo board, a condo association. You know, now I'm not sure the points in number 2 deal with that. They seem to be aimed at a condo buyer, but I like the idea, which has been done a lot, but I like the idea of condo board members and focusing in on that. I don't think I would expand it to people who are buying it as a residence. I would focus on how to run the board so it's a great condo. From Mary, how I dealt with an unfair employer through legal action, my first lawsuit as a non-attorney. What I think would work here, Mary, is that you do a book not on my first lawsuit, but how you can deal with an unfair employer through legal action, ... even if you're not an attorney. Now, you'd have to explain. A lot of people say the person who has, you know, who has herself or himself as a client is, you know, is making an error. So you have to overcome that and show pretty early in the promotion and the product why you don't need an attorney and why you can do this yourself. But I wouldn't focus on you and your case. I would have it integrated into the book, but it's got to be more tips and guidelines for people who want to do what you did and not so much just a biographical sketch or case study of your story. So this was, and here's just, it was published previously. Make sure you own the rights. I don't think Publish America does own the rights, but you have to check that. If they do, they'll come after you. This is a submission from Raul, and it's tech entrepreneurship. And it says that how do these big successful tech companies achieve success? And they all use the Agile goal achievement method. Now, Agile is big in the software world. Those of you who are programmers or software engineers or work in IT, you know that Agile development is a huge thing, so the word has attraction to people who are in this technology niche. But this is a new idea, Agile goal achievement method. So I like linking Agile, which they know and believe in, or at least are aware of, to goal achievement, which they know is important. So I think, and then he has a formula, and formulas work. acronyms are MORE, Mission, Objective, Results, and Evaluation. That stuff just works. So this is very strong as far as I can see.
Yeah, I would agree, Bob, just to jump in quickly. When I saw that too, I thought, you know, there's something there. That's kind of a neat idea. It's very different, something you probably don't hear and see a lot about, this, and then being able to have this little method here. So I thought, to me, there was a spark of an idea here. So I agree with what you said.
Thank you. Yeah, I really think this is strong. I don't think it's just for tech startup founders or CEOs. I think the audience is broader, although CEOs would like this. I think it's for teams, IT teams that are in bigger companies. I think it's for CIOs or CTOs, Chief Technology Officers. I would expand the market, and normally a narrow market is good, but I think this is too limiting. Now from Stephen, manufacturing. The secret, the importance of reliability in manufacturing. I'm not sure this would work as a self-published PDF ebook. It could. It probably could work as a Kindle ebook. You know, make it look more like a book because that's what people, you know, in manufacturing tend to buy. And it might sell to a McGraw-Hill or a John Wiley or a company that publishes books for a marketing industry. And I do think these are interesting subjects. I know lean manufacturing has been big for years, so that's established, and reliability is good. I wish we had a better word than reliability or added a word to it, like, you know, XYZ reliability. I couldn't think of an example because reliability alone is a little naked and not impressive, but, you know, ultra reliability or next hyphen level reliability or next generation reliability, more than just reliability, because everyone knows reliability is important, but you want to say, hey, my reliability culture is going to take your reliability absolutely to the next level. That's how I would handle this. And he explains the you know, the idea about it. And, you know, here he says loose output, stop downtime. Those benefits should probably be in the subhead of the book. Now from Tom, how to sell your home fast is, although it's been done a lot, there's a huge interest in this still. So there's room in the market for, and people who are interested in this do buy multiple books on the subject. And the idea is not totally new, but it's an angle you don't see a lot, is seller financing. It's not unknown, but to have a book developed on just that, the fact that it works in good and bad markets, because some states are good markets, some are so-so, some are bad, and to tell people how to do it, because they've heard of it, but they don't know how to do it. And also they're afraid of doing it, so if you can comfort them and show them how you can do it with less risk, you know, that would also be good. For William, self-hypnosis, quit smoking easily and naturally, this has been done before. Actually, Sandy, before Rich Schefren got into internet marketing, this was his business. He had a hypnosis center, I forget the name of it, Dynamic Changes or something like that in New York City, and he ran full-page ads in the Daily News for this. So people definitely want to quit smoking. I think we need more of a hook or angle in the working title, and it should be other than self-hypnosis, because self-hypnosis has been done a lot, so it's not new. But there's something here, and maybe it's in cravings, saboteurs, you know, that kind of thing. I'm sure William can find it, and if he can, you know, this is a solid idea. Not new, but there is a market for it. As he says, the audience are, this is interesting where he says, why would they buy it? The book is like a session with hypnotherapist. So maybe it's do-it-yourself hypnotherapy to stop smoking. I haven't heard that term before. There is self-hypnosis, but do-it-yourself hypnotherapy is the same thing, but often to be successful, we say the same old thing in a fresh way, and maybe that's a fresh way to do it. Daria, romance novels. Romance novels don't sell as PDF ebooks. They do sell very well as Kindle ebooks. So, and you're right, there is a voracious market for romance novels. And yeah, I can't really judge the story because, you know, it sounds good. You know, it's 3 women. Jersey Shore is a big area for romance. The fact that they have some interesting backgrounds is good. So, you know, we don't quite know the plot, but it's intriguing to me. And if you can write, Daria, if you read a lot of romance novels and you know how to write them, this could sell on Kindle. And Tides of the Heart is an okay title. I know Tides ties in with the Jersey Shore. I would experiment. I would come up with 5 to 10 titles and share them with friends of yours who are romance novel readers and get their vote on it. This is from Marissa. There's always a demand for computer stuff, and there is a demand, although it's been done before, most notably by the big direct mail seller of paperback and hardcover books. I think it's F&CA. You've seen their ads probably. They have books on stuff like this, and others have done it. So I would check out the competition, not only online but in the bookstores. I'm sure there's a dummies book on Windows. I'm sure there's a Complete Idiot's Guide. So this may be a too crowded area, but people are looking for information on this, how to clear out their registry, things of that nature. So, yeah, I think this is good. I would stress if you can add a section where you can tell them, A, how to avoid scams, like the scam where you get a phone call and they say they're from Microsoft and please give me access to your computer so I can fix it. You have a problem. People fall for that all the time. And then how to fix your computers or protect your computers from malware, phishing, virus, et cetera, because that's a big concern today. And all these other things you list are also concerns. So I like it. From Beth, looking for the right career, explore your family history, and find your life work. And then when you find your life works. That's true. I like. That's a good tagline. I agree. It's not the title. I don't understand exactly why exploring your genealogy or family history helps you find your life's work unless you want to be a genealogist. So that part of it confuses me. And then the abstract and who is the audience describes sort of a general career book, and the problem is your career books today have to have a sharper angle. They need a unique selling proposition, a USP. And I sort of don't see it from here unless the family history can be elaborated on and made to work. Because when I read this about the family legacy, I just don't see where it fits in. Now, she says on point 5, people's eyes light up when I explain the wealth of information contained in their family history. I think that has to be summarized and told in the title or subtitle. Otherwise, you're going to lose people. That's my opinion, even if I'm wrong. This is from Brenda. I'm not sure about this. I am a cancer survivor, and my wife is a cancer survivor, and cancer killed my father. I have a hard time buying this because I don't think, for Amy and I, cancer improved our life. Nobody wants to have cancer. Even if you had it and you're in remission, you have to be constantly tested, so it's always hanging over your head. So I don't buy the premise that cancer can improve your life and with number 1 to 4. Yes, I would agree that once you've had something big like that, you know, you don't sweat the small stuff as much, but you have so many other worries and problems. You know, if you have 2 parents who both have or had cancer, such as Amy and I, which we did when we were younger, and you have younger kids, we did have it when I was younger, you constantly worry about, will I be here for my kids? So I understand what you're saying, but, and there should be something for cancer survivors, but I'm not sure I buy into the premise of it. So, and here's more on it, and I'm struggling with the subtitle, and let's go back to the subtitle. Stage 3 cancer survivor. No, what's the subtitle? I'm not sure what I see the subtitle. I see working title. So if there's a subtitle, I'm not sure what it is here. Maybe I'm just missing it. Do you see it, Sandy?
No, not on this
Yeah,
slide.
yeah. So maybe she meant she wants help with a subtitle, and I think this book needs a subtitle because it's counterintuitive. The subtitle has to explain how to turn your combat, your battle with cancer from a negative to a positive or something like that. This is for Cindy, and it's interesting to me because my mother, who is 85, is doing this now. And it's an interesting idea because really a lot of these people, seniors, should, I think, move to a home that's less dangerous, you know, maybe from a house with a lot of narrow steps to, you know, a condo or apartment where it's just 1 floor or a ranch, or they should go into assisted living. But a lot of them are stubborn and they want to live in their house and they don't want to leave it, like my mother. I hope she's not on this call. And, you know, so people do want to learn how to age in place. Like one way for my mother, the washer and dryer is in the basement. It's not safe for her to navigate those steps, which are narrow. So I said, Mom, I'll move the washer and dryer up to, you know, one of the bedrooms on the main floor. She refused. So yes, I think this is I don't think the audience is just the seniors. I think it's the seniors and increasingly the kids.
Yeah, the caregivers probably. But I like that. I like this idea of aging in place. That's sort of a neat way to talk about this whole topic. So I feel like there is something here, and definitely it isn't just for the seniors that are aging, but for the caretakers around them too.
Yeah.
I think that's useful information for those people as well.
Yeah, and it is a huge problem in the United States. I think if you did a search on Google, you'd find that it gets a ton of searches. So, you know, I'm in for this, and I would add not just how to do it, but how do you convince stubborn 70, 80, 90-year-old mom and dad that you got to do this because they don't want to change their house. Dan, college financing is always a good topic. It's not a topic that hasn't been done before, and in fact, there are a lot of bookstore books that are on this topic, but with the cost of college now astronomically out of control, I think this could sell, but the title, I think, should address the fact that it's so freaking expensive now. How to pay for your kids' college, even if the tuition, room, and board is $250,000 for the 4 years that it takes to get the bachelor's degree. And my son graduated Carnegie Mellon, my youngest son, 2 years ago, and it cost me $250,000 out of pocket. So I think you want to slant it toward the fact that colleges are so outrageously high and show some comparisons that show that college tuition cost has way outpaced inflation, which makes it harder. And so I like the idea. I think the market is correct, although I think someone who has a child who's a freshman or even a sophomore, who hasn't figured this out yet, would want this help. But yes, it's better to get the help when they're in high school. I'm not sure. I think maybe elementary school is too early. I think people start worrying about this in high school and some smart people in junior high, but not before that. Now, Dan says here, plan to use public domain information. That's okay. Free report will list scholarships. That's a great bonus report. And notice he's one of the few people here that have broken out some of his content into a separate free bonus report. And everyone on this call should look at how they can do it. I never sell an information product, an e-book, a hardcover book, a paperback book, a webinar without a free bonus report or some other bonus gift, like a free webinar or a free coaching session or a free teleconference. Bonuses sell. So, and I agree that this will have a long run because there'll always be new people in this pipeline. Estrella, ESL as a second language, English as a second language, is very, very big today. One of the colleges, Estrella, if you want to do a little research on it, the University of Maryland has one of the biggest ESL programs in the country for college students, that want, or people who live overseas who want to get into American universities, which are widely perceived as the best, and have to pass the TOEFL test or one of these others that require good command of English. I like the idea how to improve English on your own, maybe a subhead, become proficient in 6 months or 90 days, or how to do it on your own without hiring expensive ESL tutors and teachers, because they do cost a lot. So I think this is interesting and could work. There is a demand and an increased demand today for ESL. So it's always good. I forget who said it. Maybe it was Gary Halbert, Sandy, who said you always want to be in expanding markets. Mm-hmm. And this is an expanding market. So, yeah, and international students is a huge submarket of this. Business professionals and immigrants are also a big submarket. Probably the biggest is international students, and maybe the second is business professionals, who can be more valuable to their company. They already have an MBA, but if they can speak Japanese or Chinese, and English, because they're from Asia, that really helps. Now, alternative health care, Sandy and I have been involved in this, as she said, for decades. 9 Killer Secrets for Heart Attack Prevention is a somewhat attractive title. Ignorance is not bliss does not work for me as a subtitle. It's too generic, and it's a cliche. So I'd have a stronger subtitle. Is this done with exercise, a diet, eating, supplements, nutritional supplements, getting an EKG every 3 months instead of once every year or two. I think it's interesting that he had a heart attack, which gives him credibility, even though he's not a doctor, I think. I don't see it here. I think the target audience is males age maybe 35 and to 30 to 70, really. And people do want to stop heart attack. So there is plenty out there on heart health, but I don't see a lot of books that specifically focus just on heart attack. Most of them say healthy heart, ageless heart, stop arrhythmia, stroke, heart attack, cardiovascular disease, which is good, but he's focusing on heart attack. So I think it's a difference, and I like that. Now from Catherine, we have alternative health. People are interested in autoimmune, lupus and Crohn's, and I think in a book you want to focus on one specific condition, and rheumatoid arthritis is very big. It's not just the flares, it's also the lack of mobility, the swelling, and the joint pain. So I would have all of that. Guide to rheumatoid arthritis, how to prevent flare-ups, joint swelling, pain, and lack of mobility or movement. So I wouldn't just focus on the flares. I think being a book on rheumatoid arthritis is niche enough, and if you just focus on the flares, you're going to have a lot of people who say, well, I have swollen knuckles, I don't really have flare-ups. So I like it, but again, I would broaden it beyond flares.
A quick question on that. I noticed she has 101 tips. Do you think that's too many, or is that?
You know what? That's always a I think a question mark. And Sandy, I'm going to ask your opinion in a minute. But the problem with 101 tips in an e-book, unless it's huge, is you're covering each superficially. Now, maybe these are so simple that would do it, but our other person said 9 ideas for preventing heart attack, and usually a smaller number is better. Having said that, there are some books, as you know, that have that title. One of the best-selling books in how to market a book, not an e-book, but a library or bookstore book, is John Kremer's 1,001 Ways to Market Your Book, and it sells like crazy. What do you think, Sandy?
That's why I was asking the question. I'm sort of on the fence because a lot of testing I've done is that, as you said earlier, the smaller the number, the better. We used to, in the financial division, we had a lead magnet report, started out like 21 hot stocks for whatever the year it was, and every time we tested away from 21, down to 7 worked the best. So it seems like it would work with a smaller number, but then, as you said, we know there are ones that have that bigger number there. So this might be one to kind of, if there's a way to be able to test whether, it's...
That would be a good test, to test whether it's 101 or 7 or 9. Also, Sandy, your test result is interesting, but one thing to keep in mind, if it's 20 stocks and I'm going to take a $10,000 position in a stock so I really make money, I got to have $200,000 to put into that system, versus if I had 9 and I put maybe 10,000, and I got to have 90,000, and I could put 5 in and do it with 45,000. Because a lot of people, like to own all the stocks that are recommended.
Exactly.
So again, he says, people who are in a flare, I wouldn't limit it to a flare, but that's just me. The author is very well credentialed, because not only does Catherine have a PhD in immunology, so she's credentialed in that way, but she also has RA and has been successful in treating and coping with it. So it's a very good fit. She has credibility that a lot of people who write on this subject, not all, but a lot, don't have. Now, this is interesting. This is not how to dance, Kip, if I understand this. This is not how to dance a square dance. It's how to call a square dance. So the pro of this is that square dance, there are how to square dance guides. In fact, Dan Poynter, the king of publishing, who passed away a while ago, published a paper book on square dance, and he published it in a 4x9-inch format. And I said, why? He goes, so they can keep it in their pocket while they're dancing.
Oh,
so
very interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting. So, there are square dance guides. This is calling square dances, which I like. However, my only concern is, if there's a square dance and there's 15 or 20 people dancing, there's only one caller, so it's a smaller market. But sometimes when you have a small market and a narrow niche topic, you can charge more. So this might work. This might work. Old-time callers who have forgotten most of their pattern, new callers, yeah, he's really focusing on the callers and the teachers, and this sounds like it could work, and it's a pretty good idea. And because it's his mother's paperback, it'd be easy to transfer to an ebook. So I like that too. This one from Larissa, I don't know. Here's the reason. You do want to be able to entertain your kids, on days where they're bored. And, I remember that, my kids are grown now, but I remember that well. And I was pretty good at it because I love to play with the kids, but not everyone is. They need ideas. However, there are a ton of paperback books on Amazon and in Barnes & Noble, fun games to play with your kids on a rainy day, or fun games your young kids will love. So I don't see anything different here, and I think you need that. I saw one guy who was putting out a product that they were games that helped instill Christian values in kids. So that was different. I don't know if it sold, but that was different. Let's see. She's saying, I might give it away for free to get people to subscribe to my website. I think it might be difficult to sell, but people would certainly want it for free. And so I think it would make a good premium to get people to opt in. If that's your goal, I think this would work better. So now gardening, herbs, and self-sufficiency. People are interested in gardening, and they're interested in herbs. So I wouldn't use, I like in the title, you don't say gardening in the title, 6 herbs you can easily grow indoors. And I would say in a subtitle, are they medicinal? Are they good spices to put in cooking? How to grow herbs you can use, for health, cooking, flavors, whatever. But I think people want to do that, and the hook or angle, which I like. Now, a lot of herbs can be grown indoors, but I don't see books with that in the title. So I like that, and people like the idea of growing plants indoors. So this, and they like the idea of edible herbs. I always say herbs like it's Herbie, but it's herbs. And so this, I like this, just at a first glance. And also, if you say it reduces or eliminates the waste by buying herbs in the store, also people like fresh herbs versus, you go in the supermarket and they're all dried and powdered. So I would add that as a selling point as well. Now from Michelle, she has a dramatic, it looks like novel or novelette, and these are the kind of books that don't sell as downloadable PDF ebooks, but do sell sometimes in huge volume as a Kindle ebook. And this is interesting to me. Now, it's not totally original. The big novel in this field about a girl who's caught in a world she doesn't realize she's dead, and it's been done multiple times, is Lovely Bones, which was a great novel and a movie. Yeah. That doesn't mean it can't be done again, but you have to realize it's not a totally original book. Another one that has sort of the same feel, although it's not murder, it's just death, is A Brief History of the Dead, which is a great novel, and I recommend to everyone. And Lovely Bones is also a great novel and not a bad film. So that could work.
One thing, I don't know what you feel, I like that is the audience, the coffee break crowd, and I'm wondering if that's a way to create a series of books under that umbrella of the coffee break coffee.
You know, that's a good idea that I didn't even think of. Maybe you call your publishing company Coffee Break Books.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have these stories like that. You could create several of them under that umbrella, and I think that'd be a really neat little thing.
Yeah, and I get the feeling, Michelle, that you want this to be a shorter rather than a longer book, and that would fit your coffee break idea. If it's a 500-page novel like Stephen King or Daniel Steele, then it doesn't fit Coffee Break. So now from Mike Connolly, marketing on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is important, or not important, it's useful to people who are looking to market their services, as well as people who are looking to get jobs. And I think it's very important for everyone, whether you're self-employed or you want to be hired, to have a good LinkedIn profile. And obviously he tells many more things than that. However, there are so many books on marketing with LinkedIn. There's a ton of them. And I don't see what's different here. This needs a hook or a USP, and I don't see it here. So from Norma, we have, I don't know if this is multiple titles. Oh, yeah. So she gives a couple of, design for your senses. That does not, to me, have anything to do with beat depression and anxiety now. Beat depression and anxiety now. I don't see the connection between senses, so I think we need the title, Beat Depression and Anxiety Now, a sensory method for improving your mood. I think that might work. And there is a big, a huge number of Americans are depressed. A huge number have bipolar, have high anxiety, and it's not just social anxiety. They have anxiety about a lot of things, so I wouldn't limit it to social anxiety. And I think this could sell, but again, you have to, don't say sense, say sensory, a sensory method or something like that. Sounds more scientific, and it sets it apart, more credible. And, I think the audience is, as you said on the other page, this is stuff we know. It just boosts or supports what I said about depression. Let me, because I want to get to the other ideas, let me briefly address this. You have to pick your niche. So you have to pick either mental health or home decor and self-help. Self-help is too generic. Home decor, I don't think sells as well. Mental health has a, what Gary Halbert called the starving crowd. A lot of people who have it, it's ruining their lives. So that has I think that's a better niche. And, it's hard, to do a website, build traffic and monetize it with ads or products. You can do it. What's the name of the course we have from Nick Osborne, Sandy, on that, the website course?
We have a couple of them.
We have, look on the AWA
there's a couple ones that he
There's
does
a website course from Nick Osborne that would tell you how to do this. To me, it's an ebook. That's the quickest way to make money from it. Assassination as a Cure for Boredom is actually a really good title for a piece of fiction. And again, fiction, you want to do a Kindle ebook and not a PDF ebook. And this is really interesting, this idea of, it's unusual, it's a little bit been done before, but I like this. It's exciting, it's suspenseful, it's intriguing, it's bizarre. So,
the title, just the word, the assassination, the title really draws you in.
Yeah, and assassination as a cure for boredom has a twist and it makes you curious. So I like that. and I don't think we need to go into the details. From Regis, I'm only going to do one of your ideas. Well, let me tell you this. Let me do both real quickly. Angry confrontations is a good idea. People have that, and so they want to know that. Now, there is a very famous book that was written on that. Doesn't mean you can't do one. But check out, and it's an old book, so there's room for a new one, Coping with Difficult People. It's not exactly angry confrontations, but it's some of it. And reinvention, a lot of people are doing it, and I'm not sure how well it sells. I think you need another wording to get people interested. From Roseanne, another cancer book, Just Diagnosed with Cancer, How to Regain Control of Your Emotions and Health. I think this is a good idea. When you find out you have cancer, you are very upset. Now, I would have the word cope in here, and I would go beyond emotions, which you have here, how to cope with your emotions and your illness, because you want to know how to control your emotions, but you also want to know what steps can I take to get rid of this, to cure it, to eliminate it. And being a health copywriter makes you more qualified, so you have a credential, you're a health writer, and that you have had, like my wife and I, cancer. So you have a personal angle and a technical angle, so you know this. Keyword research I can't go into in this session. I never do my own keyword research. There are specialists who do it. They're listed on my site, bly.com. If you click on vendors and look under keyword research, there are people who do it, and that's what I recommend. This is for the caregiver, how to support someone just not diagnosed with cancer, and I think that is a big topic also. When your child, your wife, your father gets cancer, you don't know what to do, you don't know what to say, even a friend. I hope you're better, everything you say seems lame. So I like this as well. And now for Tracy, and the winner is marijuana, how this controversial plant is transcending the war on drugs. I don't quite get the title, The Winner is Marijuana, with 3 question marks. And I don't really understand how marijuana is transcending the war on drugs. So I'm not sure where you're going with this. Marijuana, medical marijuana, legalization of marijuana, investing in marijuana stocks are all hot topics. This needs to be worded, I think, a little clearer because I'm a little confused by it. And this is targeted to users of non-users of the drug. Again, I don't quite get what the book is. If it's medical marijuana, how to use, buy, and benefit from smoking medical marijuana might be more toward the point. Now, this one from David, the psychology of marketing persuasion system, how to attract highly profitable customers, it's way too generic. There are so many books on this topic. You need to niche it. The psychology of marketing in the self-storage industry or in the restaurant industry, although that's overdone as well. You need to niche it. Just having a general book on persuasion and getting customers, in my opinion, it will not sell. I could be wrong, and I often am. Here are...
but not that often.
No, you ask my wife and my kids, I'm always wrong. So, this is interesting content, but again, under the umbrella of a generic marketing book, very hard to sell today. This is from Rod. It says, it's on time management, a very overdone subject. I have a book on time management published by Career Press. I think you'd be better on how to boost your personal productivity. It's almost the same thing, but you don't see that in titles as often. And then you put time management in the subtitle. And you know, and when you buy Google AdWords or optimize your site, you do want to use both terms, personal productivity and time management. But the other thing is, you better have some fresh tips, because this has been done a lot. And this is beyond the, he also says, I want to set up a website that sells ebooks dealing with soft skills. And I think, that's an interesting idea, soft skills. I know several people who have been successful in the training and the coaching area, dealing with corporate employees, teaching them soft skills. So, that might be something. This is from Shane, and it's Women's Story of Lies. Not a good title. It could be, a romance novel, something about some spy, some politician. So it doesn't tell me anything. And, so I would have a different title. And the title should be, either woman self-defense, or escaping abuse, or fighting back against abuse, or abusive husbands, or abusive men, or whatever. So I think the topic is of interest, but the title doesn't work. Simon says spirituality. That is too generic, like the other one we looked at, persuasion marketing. This is too general. People do like books on the afterlife, and there are plenty of them, but if you focus on that, the most interesting of the ones we're looking at is, I would have a book maybe, is there a heaven, and how do you get into it? That might be a title that works. Because people want to know if there's a heaven, some believe, some don't, and if there is, they want to know how to get into it. So, too many slides here. Not that you shouldn't have done them, but we have to move on to the next submission. For Christian parents, building intimacy with infants and children. The title isn't good, Faces. I don't know what that means. And building intimacy usually hints at something sexual or relationships with a partner. I think what you want to have here, if you're targeting Christian parents, they generally want their families and their kids to live according to the precepts of Jesus Christ. So it should be something about how to imbue your children from a young, early age with the values of Christianity. I think that's more on target. Faces, again, doesn't mean anything, and intimacy is just the wrong word. So, and this is just more explaining what it is, and it's not just children nurtured, but nurtured, and the key is Christian concepts integrated into the stories. You got to explain why that's good, and it's because, through role models, they emulate Christian values that are the behavior of the characters in the stories. How to choose the best real estate company to work with. People are interested in real estate. They're interested in buying a house. I don't know that the title for me works, How to Choose the Best Real Estate Company to Work With. I saw an ad from someone, Sandy, that you may or may not know. I won't mention his name, and he did an ad for a real estate company, and it said, 6 ways you know you're at the wrong real estate company. That's more interesting to me. 7 ways you know you are considering or you have the wrong real estate agent, because bad real estate agents to the consumer are endemic. I think that's more interesting than the how-to. The idea of choosing the right real estate agent, the idea of the book, the abstract here, is good. And I wouldn't say best real estate company, I'd say agent. That's how people think. From Maxine, senior care, always a perennial topic, just like, you know, the one we looked at about aging your home, as living in your home as you age. I'm not sure what you mean by boundaries. I think it has to be better explained. I don't think when people see that title, they'll know what it means. So it needs better explanation with a benefit in it or something unique. And again, boundary building, I don't really know how this applies to caring for vulnerable adults. Estrella says molding our inner monologue. This might work in a self-help book. No one is searching, however, on the internet for molding our inner monologue. This one, I think, might work as a book, either a Kindle or a book with a self-help publisher, a conventional paper-bound book for a bookstore. Tony, Locks and Locksmithing, the Writer's Guide to Lockpicking, Crime, and Punishment. There are a series of books published by Writer's Digest Books that educate writers on topics like this. So when you write a novel, or even a nonfiction book, but mainly for novels, you can write about it credibly. Now, I would check, Tony, to see if Writer's Digest has one on crime, robbery, burglary, or larceny. They do. It's a little difficult to compete with that. I don't know what capital punishment has to do with the locks and locksmithing. I don't think it belongs in here. But this might, this might sell, because there are lots of writers who look for information on the internet. So, Sandy, I think we've covered them all. Any other comments or things you want to talk about before we sign off?
No, I thought, Zuzu did a great job. I'm going to check here to see if you have any questions coming in. Looks like we have it just two. So Gordon is asking, have you or do you know anyone has used designer ebook programs?
I don't, because I am not a fan of anything with internet marketing. I am against doing it yourself. There are so many inexpensive, affordable vendors, and I use several vendors who are ebook designers that I hire them, because learning those programs and sitting and designing the ebook covers or the pages is not the best or highest use of my time, and your time is limited. So I only think, like the great Dick Benson and the late direct marketer said, you should only do what you're best at and farm out everything else. So unfortunately, I don't. Maybe, I don't know if AWAI maintains a file, Sandy, but I don't have one.
Yeah, I don't know if we have one in that particular subject matter, but we can look and see. Tom is asking, I am thinking of writing a series of books dealing with various aspects of counseling from a Christian perspective, i.e. dating, living together, marital relations, divorce. There are many books in this market. What are your thoughts?
There are many books in this market. There's also a big demand for this. The question is, what makes yours different? Are you a minister who also has a PhD in psychology, or is a psychiatrist? Do you run a program? You have to come up with a point of difference between what's already out there.
Perfect. That is our question. So I think we're done. Bob, as usual, great job. Good advice, recommendations on all the submissions.
And I loved your comments, Sandy. So thank everyone thank you who's listening for attending. And good luck with your books. you should definitely do them. And because, you know, a course without action might be fun, but it doesn't make you any money.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there were some good ideas in there, so I think definitely pursue those. So. All
right. Well, thanks, folks, and goodbye, Sandy.
All right. Thanks, Bob. See you in October at boot camp. Bye.
See you at boot camp.